What's going on, y'all? It's Terrence, the therapist. I am back for you guys to give you guys some more game and some more knowledge, some more insight on what mental health is and how we can continue this conversation, elevate the conversation around mental health. Well, I appreciate you guys, those who checked in. My first video, if you haven't checked out my first video, what it was just an introduction of who I am and what this channel is going to be about moving forward. Now, this topic is something that is very simple, but it's also very complex as well. So during this video, my hopes is that I can answer this one question for you guys. And that question is, what is mental health? What is mental health? And the reason again why I'm doing this video is because there's been a lot of talk around mental health, but there hasn't really been no context or anybody really saying like, what is mental health? And now we're getting to the point now where mental health is so accessible, and we're trying to destigmatize and the thoughts and the feelings around mental health. So now we're getting to a point where we're expected to know what mental health is. But when you ask people what mental health is, many people just don't know what it is. So my goal in this video is to provide what mental health is and what mental health looks like so that you are versed and you are knowledgeable of what mental health actually is. Before moving forward, what I would like for you guys to do is to like, subscribe, and share this video and this channel. I do have a goal of reaching 1,000 followers before the end of this year, and the only way I can do that is if you guys tap in and you guys spread the word about the message that's being told about mental health on this channel. Now, when we think about the word mental health, many times we think about something negative, right? We think about something that is wrong or something that needs to be changed or needs to be fixed. When in actuality, mental health is something that we all have. We all have mental health. And it's the same as physical health. Like, we all have a physical body and we all have physical health that's associated with our physical body. Now, we also all have a mind that is associated with our mental health. And I think, again, this negative context and the stigma around mental health gives it to this negative energy that's given around mental health is just so spread so far that we don't understand that we all have mental health, point blank period. So I'll use this example, right? So many jobs now, what they do is they give people sick time, right? Now what they do is they give people mental health breaks or mental health time, right? So when we look at what sick is and what mental health is, we associate sick with mental health and mental health with being sick, when in actuality, even if everybody has mental health, or just because you're not receiving those mental health services doesn't mean you don't have mental health. Now the question is, what is mental health? So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to break down two definitions of what mental health is. And this isn't to confuse you. This isn't to say like, oh, there's actually two different definitions. Again, mental health is very complex, and this is why I'm doing this video, because I feel like we need to have some type of direction and foundation moving forward in talking about mental health. So I'm going to give you two different definitions of what mental health is. Now, the first definition I'm going to give is directly from the CDC website. If you guys have not know or do not know about what the CDC is, it's the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. And I'm pretty sure unless you've been living under a rock or whatever, especially since 2020, we're all familiar with what the CDC is, or we've heard of, the CDC when it came to like COVID-19 and vaccines and everything of that nature. But we're not gonna talk about it, get into that right now. And the reason why I want to get their definition on it, despite what you guys may think about the CDC, was just to give a context of on a national level, what these organizations and institutions define what mental health is. So straight from the CDC website, mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects the way we think, feel, and act. It also helps determine how we handle stress related to others and make healthy choices. Now, to be honest, me even as a therapist, that is, somewhat of a context of what mental health is, but it still leaves a lot of question marks as to what mental health actually is, right? according to the CDC, it's more so like how you handle stress, how you handle, situations as far as like your thoughts and things of that nature. But I'm going to give you a definition that might be helpful for you to use when somebody asks you like, hey, like what is mental health? So in my experience, especially as a therapist and working in mental health and actually, going to therapy myself, which I'll get into in maybe some of my other videos, mental health is how your internal world coexists with your external world. Now, what does that mean? Internal world, external world. You're probably like, Terrence, like, what do you talk about internal, external? Like, I only live in world, right? I'm gonna break it down to you. Don't worry, I'm not gonna leave you lost. Now, what is an internal world? Now, first of all, I would like for you guys to know that everybody's internal world and external world is different. So, based on what I'm going to tell you and your insight you're gonna get through this video, I would like for you guys to make your own interpretations on what your internal world looks like. I'm not gonna define what it is for you, but in these contexts and these clues I'm gonna give you about what an internal world is, you can answer these questions for yourself to see what your internal and your external world looks like. Now, our internal world is built off of our thoughts, our feelings, and more importantly, our core beliefs. Now, what is a core belief? A core belief you can kind of think of as like a database, right? So a database is something that over time you have accumulated so much information that you now have something to operate off of, right? Now, your core beliefs might change over time. Your core beliefs might get stronger around certain topics or situations, or you might have a little bit more reaction as as we're progressing as a society, or as we're, degressing as a society, however you want to look at it. But even political views, you might have your own core beliefs with it. Religion has a lot to do with how you see the world and your core beliefs. But your core beliefs is really like how you operate, right? Like how you operate and how you move in this world. And again, your core beliefs are based upon your thoughts and your feelings. Now, to put it more simply, your internal world is really based off of your lived experience. This includes your demographics, culture, family dynamic, and maybe even like traumas you've experienced or things you witnessed. A lot of it all has to do with like your past, right? So when you think about core beliefs, anything that may have been happening in the past, or like again, your database that you have moving forward. So your core beliefs is how we operate and how we see the world. We use our core beliefs to thrive. We use our core beliefs to survive. We use our core beliefs to navigate issues. And we use our core beliefs to make decisions. And going from an internal world to our external world, our core beliefs is really, really the glue that holds the two together. Because based on our core beliefs, is how we operate in the external world. Now, what is the external world? The external world is the environment in which you operate out of. So your environment can be built upon many different things. It can be the neighborhoods you lived in, or neighborhoods that you lived in before. It can be your family members, your friends, and your career, for example. Now, just that brief overview on what internal world is and what an external world is, how does that impact our mental health? And when should we know there's signs of like, our mental health is good or our mental health may need some adjustment or some help? Now, what determines our well-being and our mental health is the balance between the internal world and the external world. Now, when things are off balance, this is where we see mental health symptoms may develop or start to occur or start to manifest, and we start seeing these things, and maybe other people may see these changes within ourselves as well too. When things are off balance, the internal world and the external world, this is where we may think about our mental health and our well-being, and whether if it's balanced or if it's good enough, or can we thrive or operate out of this situation of being unbalanced. If you guys have any questions about mental health symptoms, what I would recommend is I'm gonna put some links in our description, but also comment, and if you would like me to elaborate a little bit more on mental health symptoms and things of that nature, and maybe some things you've been experiencing that you might have questions about, please feel free to leave a comment I do plan to do another video as well too about what mental health symptoms are. Specifically, this video is to introduce and give you guys the context and the tools of what mental health actually is. So when somebody asks you what is mental health, again, we have the textbook definition, which is cool, you know, it's a good foundation, and you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with it per se as far as like the language that was being used, but to put it in more simpler terms, it's how our internal world coexists with our external world. And when do we know that our mental health is off balance is when our internal world is having a negative impact on our external world, or our external world is having a negative impact on our internal world, and when there's not a balance between the two. Now, I hope this video was helpful. And now when somebody asks you what mental health is, you can give them that definition, or you can use that definition for yourself. I would love for you guys to, you know, spread the word about mental health. I would love for you guys to, you know, check within yourselves. Like, hey, is my internal world having an impact on my external world? And vice versa, is my external world having a huge impact on my internal world? And if you guys are seeing that there is an imbalance, I'm also going to put some links in the description as well too of how to find a therapist, and also how can you get the help that you need and that you deserve. And that's it for this video. Again, I would love for you guys to like, comment, subscribe, share, spread the word. I do have that goal of reaching 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So please, please, please feel free to share this with your friends. Share this with somebody who maybe is hesitant about their mental health as well too. Thank you guys again. My name is Terrence, the therapist, and I'll see you guys in the next video.